Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we have been educating Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians on the true nationality and culture. According to these scriptures, right? And today's title of the class is, Do Israelites Deserve Justice? And I'm saying that just in the sense of, as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, for the ones that do know, whether or not you know you're an Israelite, right? Or you do, you feel some that we deserve justice. Now, they do have brothers and sisters that's Black, Latino, and Native Indians that feel that they don't deserve justice. And the reason being is because they feel as if they are less than. They feel as if their life has amount to nothing, and that they'll forever be just a wetback or a Negro, you know what I'm saying, or a savage. And they don't think of themselves highly enough to be worthy of justice. And that's the title of today's class, is to show you that God says that we are deemed fit for justice, that justice will be served to the nation of Israel, that justice will be served to the Israelites, God's chosen people. Because for far too long, especially here in America, we have not had the proper justice, right? And throughout all our captivities, we haven't had the full benefit of justice. And that's something that you're going to learn about here today in these scriptures, is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians do deserve justice, and they will get justice, right? Now, my first scripture, we're going to start in the book of Isaiah. That's where we're going to start it, right? Now, this is the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter and the first verse. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, right? I'm going to break this down, right? He's going to choose Israel and set them in their own land, Now, what is that land that the scriptures are depicting? The own land is what? Over there in Jerusalem, right? Over there in Israel, which that land is now inhabited by the so-called imposters of God's chosen people, right? But will be set in that land and rule that land, right? And the strangers shall be joined with them. Now, who would the strangers be? Well, the strangers would be who? The so-called oppressors. The reason meaning is because God does not know them, and they do not know God. And the reason why they don't know God, because God is not their God. They have no God. That's why in the scriptures it says that they are fugitives and vagabonds. They have no God. They run from land to land, right? They go and steal other people's land. They go and unalive people on these lands. They go with strong arms forces, you know what I'm saying, and sweet words, and they overtake the land and then infest the land with their pagan holidays and pagan religions. That's what they do. That's the whole entire reason you have Caesar Borgia plastered across the entire earth. I know they got like a big Caesar Borgia out there in Brazil. It's like probably over 100-foot statue, right? Just as of recently, months ago, it got struck by lightning. Actually, hit the tip of the finger, right? Because that's not the actual Messiah, right? But I say all that to say this, is that these people are strangers. The so-called Caucasian man, the Hawaiian man, the so-called Asians, whether they be Filipinos, the Koreans, North and South Koreans, Japanese and Chinese, Taiwanese, all these different types of Asians. Then you got Hawaiians, if I didn't mention them. Then you have the Arabs, and then the Middle Easterns, right? You got people up there in Spain, the Spaniards, which are just Caucasian people that just speak Spanish, right? Then you got, people in Uzbekistan and Turkey and Syria, meaning the Arabs. And in the Middle East, you got those people over there. All these people are strangers unto the Lord. Why are they strangers? Why would they be strangers? Ask yourself that question. The reason why they are strangers is because God does not know them, because those are not God's children. Ask yourself this question. If you have a son, you have sons, you send them off to school, but before you send them off to school, you say, I don't need to get a call talking about that you've been being a class clown up there in school and you acting a fool, because if I come up there, that's going to be your tail. Now, you understood that, right? At least some of his sons did, right? Because they know not to play with their father. But it was just one, because a dad knows his his sons, right? And he knows which ones might act out, right? Or might just not listen, just gonna give him some trouble. So now he gets a call, he goes up to school. Now, when he goes up to the school, he does what? He's now angered because he had to come off of work, right? To come up to school to do what? To come to see about you, right? One Christ. He had to come to school to see about you, right? And with that being said, there was kids that influenced you to be a class clown, joke, don't do your work, act a fool in the classroom. When your father comes to the school, answer the question. Is he coming to get on those kids' tails that made you do that? Or that influenced you and you made that decision to do that? Or is he coming to just chastise you? The last thing I said, when we in the parent-teacher conferences, when we talking to the principal in the principal office, it's you and your father. It ain't you, your father, and all your homeboys enough. Nah, it's you and your father. Because your father told you not to be a class clown. And therefore what? He can't do chastise you. Which means them other kids he don't know. And another word for people that you do not know and really don't care about because they're not your kids, they're called strangers. That's what here in the scriptures, the strangers would be who? The heathens, the other nations that the Most High God does not know, that he does not care for. They're strangers. And it says, we will be joined in our own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. Now the heathens, the oppressors, will be joined with us in our own land, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. What does it mean to cleave onto? Cleave meaning to like hang on, try to be around, be in the mix. Like you just want to be involved because you know that the things that you're getting are nowhere near amount as great as what they're receiving. So you want to cleave on to them. It's like if you got a high school athlete, he's a star basketball player. And every time you're around him or you see people around him, he has a crowd of people around him. He has an entourage. All the girls are around him, all the dudes around. They're taking pictures and videos and they want to reap those benefits. They are cleaving on to him because he has that clout. He has that star factor, that it factor, right? He has the fame and everything. And people want to be involved, right? That's what the heathens will do to us. And they do it here today. It's plenty of times you'll see that a Caucasian man will say, well, I'm half black. I'm 2% black. And they'll say, well, I'm a Blackfoot Native Indian, right? Or I'm a Hispanic, knowing dang well that they're not. But they're seeing that their economy is falling, and they're starting some of the oppressors, the heathens, are starting to see what we're preaching out to the world come to pass. And some are actually starting to say, hey, this Bible's still starting to make sense. And then even for the ones that don't, but as you can see, they come around and they say that, well, I'm black, I'm Hispanic, I'm Native Indian, just to be joined with us because their economy is falling. They never had no style. They've always been fugitive and vagabonds and never had no real God to serve. And they live in a lawless society. So what they'll do is try to cleave on to the house of Jacob. That's what they'll try to do because we have the law, statutes, and commandments. We are God's chosen people. We have structure and discipline. We are the righteous people that's depicted in this Bible. And since they're so lawless, they want to come along because they understand that the life that they're living, they have no guidance in. They're not going to reap a benefit by living that life. They're tired of it. And they're seeking answers. They want to be good. They want to try to find answers. That's why they trying to be in it. They trying to be intertwined with us, talking about that they're black and they're native Indians because they're trying to cleave on to the house of Jacob. They're trying to cleave on to us because they're starting to realize, hey, you know, maybe my nation isn't so good as we uplifted it to be. You know, we aren't God's chosen people. We have no laws. We have no wisdom. You know, let me go cleave on to the prophets, the children of Israel. Let me go do that for myself, right? Let me get verse 2, right? Law in Christ, it is law in Christ.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Right.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
Right. Let me.
Verse 3.
No, you can stop it too. 1 second. You can stop it too. No, you good. I'm finna pull up this this image, right? See if I can find the image. Okay, here we go. All right. So let me pull this up real quick. Right? Okay. So this is what I want y'all to look at. This image right here. And I'm gonna read this scripture again. Right? Well, you can read Isaiah 14:2 again, so I
Con out of one con. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord as servants and handmaids.
Right.
And they shall take them captive, whose captives they were. Shall rule over their oppressor.
Right. So the reason why I brought up this image is because why? And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord. What is the land of the Lord? The holy place, right? The land that's promised to God's chosen people, promised to the Israelites. And what is that land? That land is Jerusalem. That's the holy land. That's the land of the Lord, right? And it says that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will take them to the land of the Lord, right? For servants and handmaids, right? And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Now, when you look at this image right here, this image is depicting Black slaves. This is in the times of slavery, right? Now, another word for slavery is captivity, or you're captive, right? It's just like if you take a lion out of the wild, he is now domesticated. He is now captive. He is in captivity. He is no longer in the wild. He is being used. He is being mistreated, right? He's not a normal lion. He's docile, right? He doesn't have the survival instincts as if he was in the wild, being his natural self, right? It's kind of like the same thing as if when they took us captive, we were not the same. Because we were at the top following God's law, statutes, and commandments, we were in our element. But since we decided to go and follow another nation and follow their gods, God took us off the top and put us on the bottom, and then gave the land into the hands of the wicked. And then once he did that, they started to spread lies, because that's what they do, right? As soon as they be born, they go astray because they are wicked and estranged from the womb. And as soon as they be born, they speak lies. And they decided to say Caesar Borgia and Christianity, Roman Catholicism, and they made up Hinduism and Buddhism and Judaism and all these other false religions, all these other nations, right? The oppressors, right? And we were held underneath them in captivity. And it says whose captives they were. So we were their captives. But now they're going to be our captives in the land of the Lord, right? And we shall rule over our oppressors. That's what we should do. It didn't say that, you know, we're gonna be all kumbaya. Nah, we're gonna rule over y'all. The same way that the so-called conquistadors ruled over the Mexicans and then gave them Spanish. And then you got the, you know what I'm saying, you got the Mayans and then the Incas. The same way our oppressors ruled over our ancestors, we will rule over them. But we're not going to do the things that they did to us. You know, we're not going to be touching on their daughters inappropriately and touching on their sons inappropriately, or, you know, forcing ourselves on their women and on the men. We're not going to do those things. It won't be forms of alternative lifestyle. You know, it won't be eating unlawful food. Those are not the things that we will do. But you will have to get out there and serve Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the same way we did for you guys for over millenniums. That's what's going to have to happen, because that's our justice. You're going to have to serve us. You see, this is the thing. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have to understand that every other nation has their heaven here on earth. But how come they make it seem like we gotta pass away to inherit our heaven? I gotta go somewhere in the sky to go meet the Father to have my heaven. But to be honest with you, if you really think about that, that wouldn't even be possible. Because when you're living in the world, you're considered a sinner. So if you're living in the world and you're a sinner and you do pass away, what makes you think that you would go up and spend the rest of your life, right, as they say, as a ghost or as a spirit with the Most High God, when you have shown that you're not worthy? It doesn't make sense. No, heaven will be here on earth. And heaven will be full of righteous Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men and women that keep God's laws. It won't be full of, you know, acts of iniquity and sinful acts and just crazy in a lawless society like here in America. No, that's not what's going to happen. You know, if that happens, then we might as well not even fight for the kingdom of heaven. If the kingdom of heaven gonna be the same way here as America, because that's what our oppressors make us believe. They make us believe that they're going to heaven as well, and they're going to be saved. That's what all the oppressors do. After all of the unaliving, the robbery, and forcing themselves on our ancestors and our people, they think that they're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. That's how prideful and sick in the head they are. So you mean to tell me, as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, you don't think that you deserve some type of justice? That you just gonna sit up there after you know what these people done benefited off of your ancestors, and the reason why they could come over here and just build a plethora of gas stations and open up a plethora of barber shops in the hoods, and they could come over here and they have all this lump sum amount of money that was earned off of the blood, sweat, and tears of slaves. And you're gonna sit up there and say, well, we should love everybody. He can come to heaven after what they did to your people. You know what they did to your great grandma. You're gonna sit up there and say, forget about it. And see, that's the problem. You want to forget about it, but God don't forget about it. Let me tell you something. You can forget about it all you want. You want to be ignorant like that? If you want to be beguiled by the god doggone oppressors and be on their side and be a little closer to them so they can snatch you up and unalive you, be my guest. Go ahead. Be a fool. But if you wise, you read these scriptures And you see in the scriptures that it says in Isaiah 14:2 that whose captives they were, and we're going to rule over our oppressors in the land of the Lord, then you'll understand what? That's our justice. You'll understand what? That not everybody is our brothers and sisters. Then you'll understand what? God don't love everybody. Christ didn't die for everybody. Not everybody is seen fit to inherit the kingdom of heaven. And that starts right with our oppressors. They just simply cannot be in the kingdom of heaven scot-free after all the things that they have done to blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. That's just not going to happen. Not going to be sitting there, just be chilling lackadaisical. You know what I'm saying? Sitting around smiling. Oh, I made it happen. No, they're gonna be working. That's what they're gonna be doing. The Lord made them to serve us. The Lord made the earth for our sakes. In the scriptures, it says, the meek shall inherit the earth. We're the long suffering. Last time I checked, the Caucasians, the Arabs, the Middle Easterns, the Hawaiians, and the Asians, they're not long suffering. What are they suffering about? We're the number one consumer of every other nation on the face of the earth. We buy all their products. That's the reason why they're so big and they'll never go broke. As long as we keep paying them and buying their products. We ain't got no black-owned businesses. Even if we do, we barely support them. They're going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger because we support them. So how are they long suffering? What do they suffer from? What does an Asian kid have to worry about when he goes outside? What, did they make fun of his eyes? Oh, well. Oh, wow. But as a black, Latino, and Native Indian man, woman, and child, we got to worry about a plethora of things. We got to worry about making it home. We got to worry about that we put in for this job, that we get accepted and our application gets approved. We got to worry about not getting kicked out the house. We got to worry about how to pay the bills. We got to worry about not getting pulled over by the police. And if we do get pulled over by the police, how are we going to conduct ourselves? Because we know we're scared for our life. We might end up on World Star getting unalived by police because he trigger happy and said that he feared for his life. You see, we're the long suffering, man. We've been long suffering. And no other nation on the face of the earth has. Who's known for EBT and food stamps? Black and brown people. That's just a stigma that we known for. In Section 8, in the hoods and the ghettos. No other nation, us, because we are the ones that are suffering. And the reason why we are suffering is because we disobeyed the Most High. So when will we learn? Like the scriptures say, how long ye simple ones will love to live in simplicity. You got to understand that here in America, they've destroyed and beaten us down so much that we became content here in this place, to the point to where we're docile and do not want to fight against the principalities and unjust morals of this place. We just let it go. We don't say anything because you're afraid of retaliation or a rebuttal from the world. Well, why would you be afraid of a rebuttal from the world when Christ is our big brother? Christ is from the same lineage as us. And when Christ was walking the earth, along with his disciples and everybody else that was following him at the time, all the way through, they didn't give a damn about what the world had to say. Because last time I checked, the disciples were unalived in crazy ways for following Christ. And Christ himself was hated amongst the entire world. So why should you care when Christ didn't care? And Christ is what? An Israelite from the tribe of Judah. He's a Negro. So if Christ didn't care about what the world had to say, you shouldn't care, because Christ died for us, and he died for what? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, to go against the world and to not care what they say. To go and preach for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. To go and let everybody know, hey, not everybody is your brother and sister. That we should gather together, O nation not desired. And that's what you have to understand. And once you do that, then you'll say, well, maybe I do seem fit for some justice. I'm fighting for it. You don't have to fight it. It's not a carnal fight, it's a spiritual fight. Well, I'm keeping the law, statutes, commandments. I face the east and pray. Do the curses prayer, that the Most High God send curses upon this place, that it fall and to rise no more. And those are the things that you should be praying for. Those are the things that you should be looking for, because once you do that, then in your mind you have embedded that Israelites do deserve justice. But once you sit back and become docile and content that they give you a little stimulus check, they just give you some money and tell you shut up, that they're pushing the alternative lifestyle movement, and no black man on the face of earth want to utter his lip because he's scared of a rebuttal. He's scared of losing his job. He's scared of speaking up against evil things. If you want justice, you have to fight for justice. You can't sit back and justice be given to you. No, you have to put in work for justice. That's what you have to do. And by putting in work, like it says in the scriptures, right? Matter of fact, I'm finna pull it in a second. I ain't even gonna ruin it. I'm finna pull it in 1 second. And before I get to that, let me get let me get verse 21.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 21.
Right?
Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Right. Now this right here is talking about what? Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Now who is this talking about? This is talking about our oppressors, for the iniquity that your forefathers put against the Hebrews, the author of all mischief against the Hebrews. He said, prepare slaughter. Meaning what? Meaning what? Christ didn't come for everybody. Meaning what? That our oppressors are going to get their judgment. They're going to get dealt with. He said prepare slaughter. He didn't say prepare hugs and kisses. He didn't say that. He said prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity. Iniquity means sin of their fathers. Their forefathers have committed countless acts of sin against the Israelites, God's chosen people. And the scripture says that they do not rise. They're not going to rise. They're not going to be at the top ever again, nor possess the land. They're never going to possess a land again. Like when Christopher Columbus came over and took the land from the Native Indians. They're never going to have a land named after them, nor fill the face of the world with cities. It won't be no more Vegas, man. It won't be no more Californias, no more Floridas, no Disneyland and Disney World. You know, it's no more Chicago's and New York's. It ain't gonna be the Big Apple no more. The Lord is going to make sure that you do not fill the world with your cities, because your cities was built with blood, with iniquity. And you as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man do not see the track record of our oppressors, and you don't have no type of fight left in you. You don't got no type of sense of urgency to say, hey, we need to fight. We need to fight for our justice. We need to fight to be righteous. Then you're a fool. Because these people are not your friends, man. These people don't give a damn about you. Just like it says in the scriptures, before they hated you, they hated me. That was Christ speaking. Before they hated us Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians here that roam today in America, they hated Christ. You know why they hated Christ? They hated Christ because he was bringing back the two sticks. He was joining Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians back together. And he didn't have to do it the Black Panther style. He didn't have to do it Malcolm X style. He didn't have to do it any other way. The only way that he had to do it was follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments. And by simply doing that, he was uplifting Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And they started to say, maybe I do have a right to live. Maybe I do have a purpose here on this earth. Maybe I'm not just put on this earth just to be a servant or a slave, or to just live my entire life lawlessly and just don't give a damn. Maybe I do have a God to serve. Maybe I do have a purpose. Maybe my life is more meaningful than I think it is. And that's what Christ was putting out into the atmosphere with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians by the spirit of it. They seen the way he was moving, and the oppressors, the Romans, were mad because once he started to join blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, then what? Their economy started to fall. There were no longer such a rich economy, a rich empire. It started to fall because why? He was telling them, hey, the so-called Caucasian man is a deceiver, you know, and people started maybe leaving their jobs, joining from them, and started their own little companies with black and brown people. And guess what? Their oppressors were mad because now they're losing their servants, as they call us. And then they said, we got to take this dude out. We got to take him out. Because if we don't, they're going to get so goddamn strong, and then they're going to come back to know who they are. And they'll go back to serving their God, and we'll go back to looking up at them. And they didn't want that feeling. They didn't want that to happen. So they fought hard to get Christ up out of here. And that's what they did. The same way those oppressors fought hard to get Christ up out of here because of the message that he was pushing, the spirit of brotherhood and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to strive to be perfect, is the same way that we need to push. We need to push to be righteous. So that way we can say, hey, we are seen fit for some justice. Justice, God. We keeping the law, statutes, commandments. And we fighting for it. We deserve justice. You see us over here. Now I can understand that if we were just, within America and following the ways of America, how they did back in the Roman times and the Greeks, right? In the times of Assyria, the Persians, right? I can understand you just sit back, laid back, you just content in the world, you just doing what you do, living your life, following the ways of the oppressors. Then it's just like, do you really want to be saved? Like, do you really? Or are you just trying to honor me with your lips? See, the Most High God is a man that responds to action, right? Is a power that responds to action. So like, he doesn't respond to just lips. And in the scriptures, God is telling you that the Israelites do deserve justice. If God telling us that we do deserve it, why not fight for it? Why not show that we are worthy of justice? We got to show some action behind it. And the quicker we do that, the quicker that we leave this nation alone, this nation will fall at an alarming rate. Once we reveal the man of sin, man, and we come away from the so-called Caucasian man, the deceiver that the Bible speaks of, and we keep law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God commanded us to keep, Christ will come back faster and fight for us with the 200 million angels and those UFOs. And then what? We'll reap the benefit of justice. And all the while that we were keeping the law, statutes, commandments, we were worthy of that justice. It just wasn't in vain. No, it actually meant something because we worked for it. We put in the work. We put in our brick just like Christ put in his brick. And all the prophets before. That's your purpose here on earth. If you're a Black, Latino, Native Indian man, it's not a time to just chill and sit back and be lackadaisical. No, you have to put in your brick. But if you choose not to put in your brick and you just want to continue to be joined with the world, hey, you in the Lord's hands. But right now, we are giving you the message directly from the Lord to tell you, hey, fight for the kingdom of heaven. Fight to show that you got justice and put in your brick for the Lord. But hey, if you think the grass is green on that side, may the Lord be with you on that day. May he have mercy. I'm not God. It's up to him. But we telling you before the storm comes, just like in the days of Noah. Noah warned the entire earth. He said, hey, it's going to flood. You know it's going to flood. They didn't believe him. Then 40 days and 40 nights, what happened? And you seen he built that big old ark. And it was just Noah and his family. It was just 8 people left on earth. I'm trying to warn you before the times come. And right now we are in that time. Just let that be known. We are in the end times for sure. And like it says in the scriptures that what? Christ will come like a thief in the night. If somebody comes to go break into your house, you don't know what time they're coming. They might come at 4 in the morning, 12 at night, 6 in the afternoon. You don't know. We don't know when Christ is going to come back. Exact time, no. But he gonna show up real soon. And as of right now, we are not prepared. As of right now, we're not showing the Most High God that we are worthy of Christ coming back. We're not showing him. We're not showing God that Christ need to come save us because we too busy investing in the wrong empire when we should be investing in the kingdom of heaven that Christ will rule, and we'll rule under Christ. That's what we should be investing in, that empire. We should build that kingdom up. We should build the brotherhood and the sisterhood up. We should start our own businesses and our own companies. And then what? Follow our own book, the Holy Bible. It's called the Holy Bible for a reason. Holy meaning separate. It's a separate book specifically for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. How many times, how many videos, how many classes, how many times we got to go out to camp for it to be embedded in your brain to understand, so that way you understand how much evidence do we have to show you, not just in the Bible, but when we go into history books, when we go to the museums and show you artifacts. When over there in Egypt, you see the ancient Paleo-Hebrew written in the rocks. Over there in Mexico, they got ancient Paleo-Hebrew written in mountains, written in grass, and on what them things called, on stones. How much evidence should be put into your face for you to realize that you are actually God's chosen people? Right? Let me get 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
It's the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let no man deceive you by any means,
Mm-hmm.
for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first,
Mm-hmm.
and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Right. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Who is that man of sin? The so-called Caucasian man. Every time we go out there on the street corner, we reveal the man of sin, the so-called Caucasian man, the son of perdition. We reveal him. His name is going to be known throughout the earth that he is the deceiver that the Bible speaks of. Right? In other words, we know the other words of what they use, right? Deceiver, he good with his words. He got a forked tongue, right? Or the man that's in that they claim in Christianity that's in the center of the core of the earth. You know that man that they say that's down there, right? We are revealing the man of sin, the progenitor, the head honcho, and that caused everybody else to, right? Of course, they had it in them, but of course, the so-called Caucasian man gonna definitely get at the worst. He's gonna be at the bottom of the list because he was the most wicked, right? Now, in these times, that's what we are doing, revealing the man of sin. Once he be revealed to the entire earth, right? Then all the other things shall come to pass. World War III, we're in the midst of it, right? And then when it gets even more and more and it's growing hotter and hotter in the midst of World War III, Christ will return. Then you had known, then what? The entire time, the Holy Bible was telling the truth. The entire time, the priests and prophets were trying to tell you who the man of sin was. Now, we're trying to warn you and let you know, okay, this is the man of sin, right? So we letting you know that this is the man of sin to not follow the man of sin. Why? Because if you follow the man of sin, you are not seen fit to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Because the man of sin puts you on that list of people depicted in the scriptures that cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. So now here we are telling you, preaching to you, saying that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. To be ye therefore perfect as our Father is in heaven. Because We know that Yahushua is a black man from the tribe of Judah is coming back to fight for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We also know that what? We care more about others than we do ourselves. And it would be unbrotherly if I didn't tell our brothers and sisters that, hey, this is the man of sin. Leave him alone so that way you have a chance to inherit the kingdom of heaven, to prove to God that you deserve justice. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to let our brothers and sisters know that the way that they're living is not right, man. The path that you're going down, it's never going to be right. I want justice for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I really do. We really do. But you have to want justice for yourself. You got to go and fight those demons. You got to go and fight the unjust morals of this place and the principalities. You have to take your spirit out of America and put your spirit into the nation of Israel. And be transformed spiritually. Renewing of your mind. Become a new creature in Christ. And then you can start fighting and to show that you seem fit for justice. That's what then could happen. But until then, America wants us to be docile. America wants no justice for us because America is a prideful country full of prideful bastards. And all they care about is what? Suppressing and depressing God's chosen people. That's why every time you look around and every time you hear on a radio station or you see a song, they promote, they want us to be in all ratchet and ghetto. They want us to be perceived as that. They don't really care, you know, all the drugs. They like that in the videos and all the guns and all our sisters out there dressing half naked, right? They say it's only two things you're gonna do. You're gonna be a rapper, you're gonna go professional sports. They give us two outlets that they promote the most in the hoods. Why? Because they want us to forever be in their they want us to forever be subject underneath their foot. So that way their dollar can continue to circulate and they use us as what? Servants. And in the midst of us being used as servants, guess what happens? He pushes more sin. So now as he pushing more sin throughout your life, as you being a servant underneath this god doggone oppressor, he's pushing sin into your life. Now him pushing sin into your life, you're going to sin more as if already you not messed up in the head that you got to serve this god doggone man and you a puppet, and he's the puppeteer. Now the sin is taking control of your life. You're going crazy. You're off drugs. You know what I'm saying? You eat unlawful food, doing all these things. Then now you pick up what? A religion. Then you're into a new denomination within this religion. And you pray and pray and pray. You think everything's going good. But then bad stuff keeps happening. So then you start cursing God. And your whole life is a living hell. And that's why it's so important that we go out here and what? Reveal the man of sin. The so-called Caucasian man. Because if you had not known that he was the man of sin, then what would you think sin is? Oh, you would think sin is what they perceive in the Christian churches. If I don't hold the door open for you, if I curse at you, when really it's swearing. If I swear at you, if I say you be this and you F that and I'm gonna go to hell. Or if I don't clap in church, I'm gonna go to hell. If I don't sing this church song, I'm gonna go to hell. If I miss one day of church service, I'm gonna go to hell. That's the exact reason why you need to know who the man of sin is. Because the man of sin did what? Create that god doggone religion that has our people in a chokehold. And the exact reason why we won't even fight for justice for ourselves. That's the exact reason we see our brothers and sisters on the street being unalived. We see our daughters getting touched on and molested, and these brothers and sisters forcing themselves on them. And we don't even bat an eye to say anything. Because of what? The religions that the man of sin has created to suppress us and depress us and make us docile to the point to where we don't fight back for justice for ourselves. And then now you're going to be sitting in the middle when Christ come back talking about, you know, I prophesied it in your name. Well, I thought I'm saved. I'm saved. I'm saved. There's a lot of people going to be saying that, right? when in all actuality, you aren't. In all actuality, you are a hypocrite. In all actuality, you never showed that you wanted justice for the nation of Israel. You didn't care about yourself. You sure didn't care about your brothers and sisters. Right? We're going to get my next scripture. We're going to get, let me get Revelation. I think I'm on Revelation. No. I want Zechariah 14:2. That's what I want. Yeah. Let me know you let me know when you got it. I meant verse 12. Salaki, I said verse 2. Yeah, give me verse 12.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
And this shall be the plague where the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Their flesh, Salakia, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth. Verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult.
Oh, Salaki, you can start right there. Salaki, my bad. Right? Look at Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Now, earlier, I asked a question. Do Israelites deserve justice? But right here in the book of Zechariah, chapter 14 and verse 12, it says, wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Who is that? The so-called Israelites. What does smite mean? Smite means to, like you're unalive, to go away, like, right? To inflict bodily harm against them, right? That's what God said. He's going to smite all the people that came up against Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Now, let me give you an example. For all my people that know about Hiroshima, when the U.S. went to go bomb the Asians, I think it might have been in Japan, right? They dropped a nuke bomb. Now, if you were there at the time when the bomb was dropped, your flesh would consume away while you stand upon your feet, and your eyes shall consume away in their holes. Meaning your eye gonna go to the back, like it's gonna go through the eye socket and just go straight back to the back of your head. And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And your tongue will get burned up, shrivel up, all inside your mouth. So basically, you know, when you watch, you watching a cartoon and like it's some dude in a laboratory and he built like some crazy gadget that can disintegrate people. That's what this nuke bomb is going to do to the so-called oppressors that came up against the Israelites. The nuke bomb is going to disintegrate them. For all my younger crowd, I know we had a lot of brothers and sisters that played Call of Duty Black Ops. On Call of Duty Black Ops 2, they had a map called Nuketown. When you finish the game, at the end of the game, If you look to the left in the distance, there was a bomb that was dropped from a tower. It was a nuke bomb. And when it exploded, everybody that was in the vicinity in Nuketown, and it even showed your character, he was burned up. He was unalive while he stood. That's what's going to happen in the midst of what? World War III. Because America will be destroyed by fire. And that fire comes in the ways of what? Nuke bombs. Thermonuclear war. That's how America will be finished. And if you think I'm lying, well, just check the news channels. How many times have we heard that there's ongoing war right now? And at least since what, 2020 as a recent, we've been hearing about that it might be thermonuclear war. And it's even crazier that I say that is because even our oppressors know it and they're so calm about it. Like they're talking about it on news channels and talk shows, you know. I think this one talk show with this one Edomite, Piers Morgan. He was on there with this one dude that talks about the nukes and how World War III and all this and what he's predicting. And they're just so calm about it. Because this is the end. But little do they know that this end is for them. Because they don't understand that they're not saved. They don't understand that the false religion that they made, and they made all these false rules to, and all these accolades that you can achieve within this false religion, they don't understand that that doesn't make any sense and it's not real. That the oppressors are not saved. No, you're not saved. You can never be saved. There's no salvation for strangers. There's no salvation for the so-called oppressors. Now, you're either going to be unalived or the Lord going to spare you, and you're going to be serving Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's what's going to happen. Right? That's World War III being what? The justice for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's a part of the justice to get us out of this chokehold of a place that we call home. Because for so long, we haven't had none to fight. But you know what makes it even better? Give me Revelation 9 and 12. Because it talks about what? It talks about World War III in the scriptures. And that's a beautiful thing about the Bible. That the Bible is literally such a prophetic book, and everything comes to pass. It must come to pass. Everything that's written in the scriptures has to happen. And how ironic is that the scriptures talk about World War III, and here we are in 2023, and it's even more prevalent now. That they're talking about it right now as we speak. That in so-called China, they're preparing their missiles. Go ahead and read what you got.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 9, verse 12. One woe is past.
That's World War I.
And behold, there come two woes more hereafter.
Right. Let me break this down real quick. One woe is past. What is a woe? Woe means destruction. So one destruction is past. That was World War I. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Now, World War II is going to come, but it already happened, right? But it was saying this, that it was going to come. Of course, now it is past, right? And it happened. And it said two woes more. It means two more. We already did World War I. We already did World War II. So what's next to come? World War III. It has to be a World War III. It has to be a trilogy. It has to be. That's the good thing about this movie. It's a trilogy. And the movie's going to say Finn here in America. That's where it's going to end at. Right? And of course, in all these and not just America, but all these other nations, they're gonna get destroyed as well. Because it's gonna be war in their countries too, right? But at least as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, you should be rejoicing that what? Babylon is fallen. You know what I'm saying? The whore that sits upon many waters, aka Babylon the Great, America, or USA, or the land of the free and the home of the brave is going to fall. And you should be rejoicing in that finally you get some relief. But there's one thing you must know. Christ is coming back to fight for us. But you had better want to be on the right side. Don't be all happy that he's coming to fight for us and you still following the ways of the oppressor. Because guess what? When he come back and you joining with them, you an enemy of the Lord. And Christ coming back to destroy the enemies of the Lord. Whether or not you are a brother or a sister, if you caught on the wrong end, Christ under orders. He's saying con out of one con to the Most High God, and he got to get it completed. Right now, we letting you know, hey, look, you better get off that side. They grass brown now. They grass dead. They grass been in the conditions of Texas. You better come over to the nation of Israel where the grass is green, where it's healthy. We got good herbs, good food to eat. We keep the law, statutes, commandments. We got good feast days. You better come up over here and choose life. But you had rather be inhabited in the ways of America. You're choosing death. That's what you're doing. You're literally signing the contract to death. That's what you're doing. You know when you make a bet with somebody and I mean, I bet 500. I bet 500 he win. Well, I bet 600. I bet 1,000. You go like, are you trying to bet 1,000? Or we both bet 1,000? All right, bet. Y'all agreed on it. Y'all shook hands. That's an agreement. When you continue to follow the ways of America, you are invisibly signing on that X, right next to that X on that line, your signature, and saying, hey, I subscribe to the ways of America and are an enemy of the Most High God. That's what you're literally doing. You're literally signing your life away, and you don't even know it. But here we are trying to let you know it's not worth it. And the reason being not worth it is because what? When we go back into the land of the Lord that was promised to us, and we have those people that had us captives, and we have them captives, and we have our turn, thus saith the Lord, and they're going to be servants and handmaids, you not understand that the god doggone streets that we walk on are going to be paved with gold. Do you not understand that we're going to have literally a black and brown empire? Do you not understand that we are going to have feast days like no, cookouts like no others, spade games and domino games like no others? You can crack open a Corona, you know what I'm saying? I got doggone Heineken. You can chill all day and night in the kingdom of heaven where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will rule under Christ. That you won't have to worry about being stuck in your head of all these pagan holidays and pagan religions that you are forced to serve, because that will be none in the kingdom of heaven. We'll have our own government, and we'll keep the law, statutes, commandments that the Most High God has commanded us to keep this day. Do you not understand what the kingdom of heaven is going to be like? Now, I might be just describing, right? Just what's in the scriptures. But that's nothing compared to what it's actually going to look like when you lay your eyes on it, bro. Lord Christ, Lord Christ. I ain't even looking at the chat. Lord Christ, brother. Lord Christ, Judah. You damn right, Tamaki. You damn right. Shalom on Christ, sir. Shalom on Christ. Right? Now I'm speaking about it. I don't know what, you know, I can't even fathom what the kingdom of heaven really gonna look like. Right? But let me just tell you this. It's gonna be a sight to see. You had better wish that you had fought for the kingdom of heaven. You had better wish that you not sell yourself short. Lord Christ, sis, Lord Christ. Sell yourself short for this god doggone temporary place. That's not even your heaven. You had better wish that you had fought for the right thing. Because if not, you're gonna regret it in that day when Christ come back. Give me Matthew 10 and 34. I'm gonna tell you why you're gonna regret it. Because Christ is coming back to do something.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 34.
Mm-hmm.
Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Right. This is Christ speaking, man. Think not I am come to send peace on earth. I am come not to send peace, but a sword. What happened to Christ died for everybody? What happened to God of everybody? What happened to that? And that doesn't make sense. Because last time I checked, God is the Father. Right? And Christ is the Son of Man. Right? And he was perfect like our Father was in heaven. He followed everything to a T. God said that his children is who? The Israelites that come from the nation of Israel, which consists of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I'm going somewhere. So if Christ understands this, he kept the law, statutes, and commandments to a T. He understands who he was sent for because he was commanded by God to be sent for his own people. What sense would it make for him to come back and save everybody when those same very people went against his people and went against him for uplifting his people? Now he had went against his father, then what? He had disobeyed his father, which means what? He would have sinned against the Most High God because the Most High God commanded him to what? Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. His whole mission. But if he had went against that, then what? He had disobeyed the Most High God, which means Christ wouldn't have been perfect. Which means what? Then you can use that narrative as Christ loves everybody. But he didn't do that. He did what the Most High God commanded him to do. And it says, think not I am come to send peace. I mean, he's not come to send hugs and kisses. Where you get that from? Oh, I know where. You think Christ is Caesar Borgia. That's who you think Yahweh Shai Mashiach is. You think he's some salty, feminine, Caucasian man that does not strike fear in you. When in the scriptures it said that Christ was an austere man. His voice was the sound of many waters. He spoke loud. He was a man to be feared. And you sitting here painting him as some soft man. That's why you believe that he's coming to save everybody. And not only that, another reason why you believe that is why. Well, the so-called oppressor created what? His own religion. Within his own religion, he created his own rules. The reason why the so-called oppressor says that you can go and sin is because that's all he's ever known. And then he says you can go and sin and be saved because that's all he's going to continue to do. So he makes an exception to make an excuse for his iniquity. So then he puts that within his religion. And then he abides by that and then pushes the message across the entire earth. So now everybody thinks the same way like him because we look subconsciously, we think the so-called Caucasian man is what? He's our God. He's God because they've already used Caesar Borgia as that image and embedded it in our brain. And then that's where you get that God loves everybody and Christ died for everybody. But in all actuality, he said, I am not come to send peace, but a sword. By him coming to send a sword is going to be the justice for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And especially you're going to have to do it because for far too long, people have been playing with his name. Christ isn't some Caucasian man. No, Christ is a black man from the tribe of Judah and a very austere man. And when he comes back, it's going to be many people that is going to look up in the sky and say, who the hell is that? Many people are going to be shocked. They're going to try to hug him and not even be able to get in his presence. It's going to be people that's going to say, I prophesied it in your name, bowing down, thinking they're worthy and are not. And many people will be unalive. That's why it says that his garment is going to look like it's been dipped in a vesture of blood. Because that's how many people he's going to unalive. Because those same very people did not keep the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God commanded them to keep. And especially our oppressors, they got to get it because they're the ones that was the author of all mischief against us to go against the Most High God. They made it worse with the alternative lifestyles and their pagan holidays and pagan religions. And they thought they was doing something. They thought it was of God because they made their own God and they professed themselves to be God. So they think they right. Let me see this. This brother just said something, right? This government shutdown looks like it might be a big fire to what's already going on. Then I can smell the kingdom. And you damn right. I think just as of maybe recent, a couple years back, the government has shut down. I think the government had shut down right before COVID really took in effect, and then the quarantine had hit. And then ever since that COVID thing and then quarantine was it just never been the same. Like it was just bad. And that's why, and you're absolutely right. That's why we in this predicament now, is why they got this thing they call BRICS, where all these other nations forming, you know, China, Russia, I think Africa. I think France is trying to join BRICS, and they trying to start their own currency, because ever since the government shutting down and COVID and us being quarantined, what? The so-called dollar bill is none to effect. It means nothing. It has no value. For the first time ever, they just said that that America is $33 trillion in debt. 33 trillion. 33 trillion. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money owed. And you see, America is starting to get their tail whipped because for so long they've been the bullies. So long they've been the bullies, and ain't nobody said nothing to them. Nobody stepped to them. Nobody judged them. Nobody set them straight. They just get to talk out the side of their neck, and nothing happened to them. But that's why Christ is coming back to what? Behead the bully. Christ is coming back to what? Beat up the bully. So bad that his entire countenance changed. He gonna turn into a soft-spoken man, well-mannered and everything, but by the butt whooping that Christ is coming back to give them. Because they just won't learn. Like it says in the scriptures, Obadiah. Matter of fact, give me Obadiah. Yeah, give me Obadiah in verse 3. Then we're gonna drop down to verse 15. But let me get verse 3 first.
It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3.
Right.
Pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks,
Right.
whose habitation is high,
Right.
that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Right.
Verse 15.
Now you can stop right there, right? The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. The pride. Now, what does it mean by heart? It doesn't mean the heart that beats in your chest. It's talking about your mind. So the pride of thine mind hath deceived thee. The prideful thoughts, their mannerisms, the way they act, the way they uphold themselves. Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks. Now, this is talking about who specifically? The so-called Caucasian man. The so-called Caucasian man is the modern day Neanderthal or modern day caveman, right? Whose habitation is high. Now, when you go to New York or you go to California, they stay up in the hills. You go over to the Bee Cave in Austin, you know what I'm saying, over to Lakeside, they stay up on the mountains, whose habitation is high, right? You go up in the Austin down to 6th Street, they got skyscrapers up there. They stay all the way up in the penthouse up top. They paying $4,000-$5,000 a month. They don't care, just as long as they up top, because it says in scriptures. Need not remind you that in itself is a it's like a sign or a how I say, it's like a sign to the people below them. It's really like I'm trying to stun on you type thing. Like they like to live up high while we down on the ground and will never get up that high, right? Unless you win the lotto, right? But you won't be able to maintain it because they steady gentrifying these god doggone neighborhoods, and the rent steady rising, mortgages steady going up, the interest rate is steady rising, and they trying to run blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians out the neighborhoods because they say that they so deeply terrified of us just dwelling there. When in all actuality, we should be scared of y'all because y'all the true thugs and criminals, right? They dwell up high. It's like a status thing. It's like a pride thing, an ego thing. Like, yeah, I'm up here. You'll never be up here. They feel safe up there. It's like a to stun on you type thing. Yeah, them black people below me, and Hispanics and Native Indians below me. They'll never be up here, right? Whose habitation is high. So they love dwelling up high. And just them, they say in the scriptures, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me to the ground, right? Now give me Acts 4:26. Now I just said, they say, who shall bring me to the ground? No, Salaki, give me verse 15. Because they saying, well, who shall bring me to the ground?
It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
For the day of the Lord is here upon all the heathen.
Right.
As thou hast done,
Mm-hmm.
shall be done unto thee.
Mm-hmm.
Reward shall return upon thy own head.
Right. Now, verse 3, at the end of it, what did they say? They said, who shall bring me to the ground? That's what they say. Who gonna bring me to the ground? In other words, what does America say? Home of the brave, land of the free. We got the best military. We got the best technology. We got the best political system. We have the best economy. Not America not profess themselves to be that? Why do you think they go at everybody in every war? They go over to Pakistan, they go over to Syria and Iraq. How many years they was fighting in Iraq? At least over 5 years. Syria. They going over to Kuwait and Baghdad. They over there, they just didn't Trump just bomb the governor in Iran? They just bullies. They just go over there, they take your resources, take your oil, and then they suck you dry like a leech in the god doggone jungle. Then they leave you. That's what they do. And then after they destroyed your place, they say, well, come and join us. We won't do it anymore. Then go right back to doing it. That's what they do. They do that to everybody. They even do it to their own people because they're so prideful to say, who shall bring me to the ground? That's, of course, the elites that control that thing. They doing it to their own 9-to-5 working citizens here in America. They come and take all their stuff and resources and just bully people. And you see the entire earth, all these other nations are tired of America being the bully. They tired of saying, who gonna bring me to the ground? You ain't got the best military. You know who got more nukes than America? I believe China do. It's either China or Russia. And for what? For so long, we have been competing with China. But you know what? China ain't been competing with America because China been way more technologically advanced than America. Way more sound than America. Their economy is better. Their food is better. The way they hold themselves is better. But here come the bully coming along, trying to bully people. And China just been sitting back, getting their army better, getting their economy better, paying back their dues to people, building relationships. And all these nations that are coming in BRICS are going to come against America. That's what's going to happen. Because guess what? They done set their foot in every place on the earth. Every place you can think of on the earth, the so-called Caucasian man has put his feet there. America has been there and has taken from these people. Just like they took the land from Native Indians. Just like they came and swiped up the so-called Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans and Cubans and Dominicans and the Guatemalans and the Panamanians and the brothers in Chile and the brothers in Brazil and, you know, South America. You know, and the black brothers and the Native Indians when they came over with Christopher Columbus. Just like they did all that stuff to us, guess what? For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. All of them. Because everybody that came up against the Hebrews, the author of all mischief against the Hebrews, who came up against Jerusalem, that's not black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, which would be them. And thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. That's justice for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. The day of the Lord is near. Why would I pull this scripture? Because it is a high time that you understand that the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. America is falling, man. The dollar bill ain't nothing. And everybody been complaining for the past 3 years that Bitcoin gonna be the next currency. That's not going to mean anything. AI already taken over. Every other nation is pulling out the investments of America and forming their own stuff. Right? China got some investments in Africa. Right? They finna build that up and make that something. France trying to beg to join with BRICS. Sooner or later, Ukraine gonna join with Russia. And how much money done? I believe they done gave over 20 million, maybe billion, trillion, however much. Too much money for me to ever count. To god doggone Ukraine to help fight against Russia. But it's not going to work. And America think they know what they're doing. America's outnumbered. And Ukraine is going to what? They're going to have to join Russia because they're not going to have the funds. Their army's not big enough. Their economy's not strong. They're going to have to join with them. And then what? They're going to turn on America. And everybody that they took away from, that reward is going to be upon their own head. In the midst of World War III. And then in the midst of that, to make it even worse, as if all the people that you allied with go against you, America, Christ's going to come and go against you. That's what's going to happen. Give me Acts 4:26. Christ's going to come against you. Oh, he joined in on the fun too. You thought it was just China, Russia and Ukraine and France, and Africa. Oh, you best believe that, Christ's going to come in too. He's going to get his fair share. He's going to get his blows in. Give me the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 26.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 36.
26, Salaki.
Salaki.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 26. The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ.
Right. The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ. Now, I was just speaking on this. In the midst of World War III, Christ will come back. Now, the kings of the earth stood up. Who are the kings of the earth? The major prominent people that rule each country. Like Kim Jong-un runs North Korea. Whoever runs China, that would be a king of the earth. Joe Biden, if he's the president at the time, right? Or whether it be Donald Trump or some other Edomite up there. The kings of each country will stand up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ. Now, why do I say that? Because the main way and the only way we'll receive justice is when Christ comes back to fight for us with those 200 million angels. But our oppressors are so prideful and would rather go through another 250 years of this place being lawless and having no structure and guidance and not having no law, statutes, and commandments in it, that they made a space force. Now, as of recent, we know that the Space Force was created. And they got technology where they say that, they can detonate stuff in space and they can fight against UFOs and whatnot, right? And how many times have we seen countless videos of what? These people trying to fight with these fighter jets against the UFOs, and they simply cannot stop them. They shooting tracer bullets all in the air trying to shoot the UFO. It's diving in the water. It's zooming this. It's disappearing in the sky. You can't hit it. It's coping with the sky. Because that right there is a vehicle of the Lord. And last time I checked, the vehicles of the Lord and anything dealing with the Lord is undefeated. But our oppressors hate us so much that they made a space force to go against the UFOs. The only salvation that is for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Do you feel like that you deserve justice? That's our justice right there. Do you feel like you should fight against the principalities and unjust morals of this place? Do you feel so? Because if you do, then what? You'll be fighting for what? An entrance for the UFOs to come and do their job with Christ leading the way. But if not, and you just want to sit there and let them step up over us as if we Tyronn Lue and America is Allen Iverson, then be my guest. But God is telling us, hey, these people said that they was going to come up against me and my Christ. That's our only salvation. You're not going to fight and tell them that, hey, you know, Christ is a black man. You're not going to fight against this place and pull it down the strongholds through the ways of God, through the word of God. You're not going to do that. You're just going to sit around and just be a pushover. How long in your life you just going to be bullied by a bully? Or are you going to sit back and, are you going to step up and fight? You got anything to say, Ricardo?
Salaki. No.
You ain't got nothing.
I'm just absorbing everything.
Nah, Most High Christ. Give me we're gonna go to Isaiah 14 and 22. Because last time I checked, all throughout this Bible, God is saying that, hey, the Israelites will get justice. We deserve justice. God telling us that we deserve justice. That he'll fight for us. But we have to what? We gotta fight for God. And how do you fight for God? You keep his laws and his commandments. We gotta show we love God. How you do that? Keep his laws and his commandments. But if we not doing that, then it make no sense for him to come and fight for us. He ain't gonna have no children that seem fit. He ain't gonna have children that's righteous enough to seem fit to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Then all this time that we went through these trials and tribulations, through all these captivities, means nothing. We ain't gonna have no righteous seeds. We're not gonna have no kids raised in the truth. We won't know the true meaning of the feast days. We won't know the true meaning and how important it is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and how necessary it is to attach that and embed that into our brains. We won't know these things if we don't put in our brick for the Lord and fight for it and instill it into our lineage. God is showing us right now in these scriptures. God is speaking to you right now. This is God speaking to you. And he's saying, you deserve justice. That's what he's saying. He's telling you all the things that he's going to do to the oppressors because of what they did to his children. He's our father. And at least if he's going to come and do that, at least if he's going to allow Christ to come and do that for us, we at least got to show that we're worthy of it. At least don't let it be in vain. Don't let us be a slap in the face to God. Let's not do that. We've done that plenty of times. At least let us get it right. And I promise you, if you do get it right, like it says in the scriptures, it will be that much more sweeter. It will be. Give me that scripture. Let's see what God said.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord.
God said, for I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts. What does Lord of hosts mean? What does Lord of hosts mean? Salakia. Lord of armies. And cut off from Babylon the name. Meaning what? Babylon meaning America. He's going to cut it off. And remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. It won't be no more America. This kingdom will fall. All because of what they had done to his people. All because of what they did to God's chosen people. For so long, we have been mistreated and misused and misguided. And guess what? We sitting up here telling our oppressors that we are God's chosen people. And they sitting here looking in our face like, God, dog, for 400 plus years, for millenniums, we have been mistreating these people, and these are God's chosen people. And the same that we dished out is going to come back against us. Give me Revelation 13 and 9. Or 13 and 10. Once again, you'll see another example of God showing you that we do deserve justice. But do you believe that you deserve justice?
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 10.
Uh-huh.
He that leadeth into captivity.
Oh, say it again. Say that again, Ricardo. Say that again.
He that leadeth into captivity
Uh-huh. Keep going.
shall go into captivity.
Uh-huh.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Right.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Right. From the top. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Now, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 21, it was talking about whose captives they were. We were their captives. And it says that we were going to take them into the land of the Lord and possess them and have them as servants and handmaids, right? That's called captivity because we were in captivity. Captivity, in other words, is slavery, bondage, a servant and a handmaid. And in this scripture, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go. Meaning what? That these so-called oppressors are not getting away scot-free. You see, they get away scot-free here because this is their kingdom. But guess what? God said, hey, they had you as slaves. Hey, I'm so true to my game. I'm so true to my word. I'm so righteous in it. They going into captivity. Like, even though you disobeyed me to go and follow them and follow their ways, and that's why we went into captivity, and we were subject underneath their gods and their pagan holidays, and they turned this entire place crazy. He said, hey, I'm still gonna get some justice for you because you're my children. They ain't just gonna get away just doing that. The entire time, this period that we're in is a grace period, a period for where we can get right in this time. And the entire time we have been here, we have been getting chastised by our Father, Yahweh, the Most High God. But of course, we're so docile and we have no wisdom in this place. We've lost our wisdom. We have no knowledge. We're destroyed that we don't understand. It's not connecting in our head. We're not able to receive these signals to our brain cells to understand that we're disobeying the Most High God, and that's why we're getting chastised. And the reason why is because we have been destroyed by religions to the point that we don't even open the Bible and read it for real. So we're not going to understand the signs. But that's why the Most High God has sent his priests and prophets before the entire earth to tell you, hey, you may have, it's been some scriptures you've been missing out on. It's been some stuff that they've been lying to you about. It's just some stuff that's not really as they make it seem. You know, this is the truth of the Bible. And that's why here in the ISUPK, the Commanding General Yohana, it's called the truth. Like it says in the scriptures. This ain't just our words. It says it in the scriptures. The truth. The truth meaning the truth, authentic, 100%. This is pure breed. But you messing with these other religions, that's when you start getting into the mutts and the mixed breeds. You start to get confused. You think you got a pure line, and all actuality, you ain't got no pure lineage. You intermix with all these other religions and all these other pagan holidays and all these strange nations, thinking that you of God, thinking that you holy. That's not the case, right? He that killeth with the sword must be, he that unalive with the sword must be unalive with the sword. So did they not unalive us with the sword? Because last time I checked, they are blessed with the sword. Like it says in the scriptures that they are men of the field. They go out and hunt. And Jacob is a man that like to dwelleth in the tents. You know, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, we go outside. We ain't scared to go outside. We fish and all that. But we like to be up in the house chilling underneath the AC. You know, spend time with the family. We ain't all out there doing all that crazy stuff. You know, they do that stuff. They out there unaliving the elephants and lions. That's why they all extinct, damn near. They're endangered species. Like it says in the scriptures. And the scriptures never lie, right? They unalived us with the sword. They cut out babies. They cut out babies from mothers' stomachs and put them in alligator-infested ponds. They cut our limbs off. They castrated us. You know, they forced themselves on us in front of our women. They forced themselves on our women in front of us. They made our women, you know, breastfeed their kids. They did all these horrific things and things that I cannot even begin to fathom to do to a human being to us. And they unalived us with that sword. So the Most High God said they're going to be unalived with the sword. Because whatever that they did to us shall return upon their head what? Double. It must happen. And that's justice for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Now, us as brothers and sisters, when we look at this scripture, what do we say? Oh, nah, man, that ain't right. No, that's you interpreting that wrong. That don't mean that. Or they look at you with a face of shock, or they're surprised that God would even say that in the Bible, that would be prophesied in the Bible and it must come to pass. That we have been beaten down so much and we're so docile, we can't see Caucasians and Asians, in slavery. We just can't. We just can't, because of the ways of religion, especially Christianity, has messed up our mind in leading us astray to who we really are. You don't know that Black people built the Great Wall of China, do you? You see how big that doggone wall is and how high it is? You mean to tell me they're not gonna build something like that or something bigger? You've seen what happened with the Native Indians when they came and took the land. What did they do? They unalived the Native Indians. They killed all the buffalo. Slovakia, they unalived all the buffalo. Right? They didn't use the fur for any type of clothing. They didn't make teepees. They didn't use the meat from the buffalo carcass to eat. No, they just let it decay. People were starving. What did they, when on those cargo ships that those so-called the Arabs built to transport us here, to help transport us here? Yeah, they had a hand as well. We was defecating on each other. They had women out on their cycles doing all types of stuff in the bottom ships, and they throwing up on each other. The type of stuff that we had to go through. And then came over here and served them, and they still unalived us. What they did to us must return upon their own head. And they think they're getting away scot-free. That's why they're trying to cleave on the Jacob so god doggone bad. That's why you hear all these god doggone people across the earth that's not Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian talking about, I'm Hispanic, I'm 2% Hispanic, I'm 30% Native Indian. No, that's not how the scriptures go. The scriptures say you are the seed of your father. Ain't no 30%. Ain't no Ancestry.com telling me that I'm 2% African and I'm 5% white. And then they go in specific saying, yeah, you're 2% Irish and 5% Scottish. No, that's not how I go. It's based on the seed of your father. And as you can see here in America, hey, it's falling, and these god doggone strange nations is trying to cleave on to us. And with that, let me get the security announcements. That will be the end of today's class. And after that, we'll get the upcoming holy convocations. Let me read it.
These are the ISUPK security announcements.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for the new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it.
Mm-hmm.
After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other.
Mm-hmm.
After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means 10 In the Hebrew, Ma'ishar,
Ma'ashur.
percent of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to treasury department or teacher priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like, upcoming holy convocation.
All right. Upcoming holy convocation that we have is the Feast of Tabernacles, the 15th day of the 7th month for 8 days, which is on Friday, September the 29th to October the 7th on Saturday, 2023. This can also be found in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 34 through 44. And that is the holy convocation.
If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. This concludes the security announcement.
All right, with that, we're going to Amamajim, which means to stand. We'll get the Lord's Prayer and face the east. All right. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Bakah, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah. Bashamayim, Nathan Lanawa, Akam, Paul, Yawam, Wasalak Yanawa, Kabawat Wath Yanawa, Kaselak Yanawa, Kawat Wath Yanawa, Bara'a, Taba'ainawa, Barasanawam, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalak Wathka, Hamalak Wat, Walawa, Wahatapara, La Awa Lanyam, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, so be it. Now we're going to SAR. This means return. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Amajim, Amadim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah, Yahya Matai. All right, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amajim, Amadim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema Latah Hashem Yahweh Shah. With that, class is dismissed.